Attack rank guide on Coastline. Make sure to turn on the corresponding subtitles. There are timestamps into the description. Coastline is an attack favored map. It has a roughly 50-50 win-loss overall in the Pro League, but when you take consideration that the game is overall defender-sided, then we can say that Coastline is actually attack-sided. The reason for it being attack-sided is because you cannot roam on the map without being exposed from the outside. Most, if not all the rooms have windows or the giant square in the middle. Having said this, let's first attack Penthouse and Theatre. Check in the description for the defend part of the coastline to understand this video more clear. Also, always have the lobby double doors opened. These doors are very similar to the consulate's yellow doors, enables defenders for an extra rotation. SoloQ part. As Gridlock repel on the lobby's window and as you throw tracks by the lobby stairs, covering your flank, as well as throwing it by Zulu, repel inside. Hopefully your repel sound will be masked by tracks. Now you have one more track and 2 smoke grenades. If there is a mirror window facing hallway, you can crouch by it and not be seen, unless they destroy the sub part from below of the mirror window. If you're afraid of the 90, you can smoke that off, as well as the penthouse to theater door, and push your way in the theater. That way, when you succeeded in your push, you just got yourself the objective control. Since most likely you won't need to use a drone anywhere, there's just one default place to be as a defender. Place them so you can watch them in case you simply fail, or for the flank drones. Stack part. You could do a very similar push as the SoloQ with obviously more coordination, by opening the double door of lobby from the outside, instead of using track to cover the plant, and having termite opening the theater walls, whilst having someone repel by the big windows of penthouse. Once you have opened the theater wall, you can be only pushed from the Zulu and 90, or from below, but you have opened the double door, which all can be covered with a flank drone or manpower. However, we will have a standard VIP take now. For the whole time, you will want to have someone rappelling on the penthouse window. It is an extremely important location to be, as you literally cut all the rotation from the theater to VIP, or reverse. Speaking of VIP, if they will be contesting it, they can only be in this corner, and if they don't have reinforcement by these 2 walls, destroying it with Ash, Zofia, Buck or Kali from above is recommended, as you will push the player in the corner. Having a player on roof like Zofia and someone by the VIP balcony will confirm the kill. Speaking of the VIP balcony, it can be a bit tricky to get there, as there can be defenders, especially Valkyrie, that will play in the Hall of Fame, or the guitar, and be super aggressive. That angle can be shut down if you open the toilet hatch, and if walls were not reinforced. If they were, and you know that someone is playing close to the east side, throwing a grenade through this drone hole is 10 out of 10. The wall is usually not being reinforced, or is just 1 out of 2 reinforced. Another angle to be very off when getting to the VIP balcony is anywhere close to the VIP window, proning or in the other corner of the VIP. The usual go-to run out on the VIP balcony is from the Hooka balcony, and having a claymore like this will do the trick. Since you will have to take care of the player repelling on the big window from being flanked, as well as your balcony players, bringing in Nomad or Gridlock is recommended, as well as having flank drones. The second recommended operator to pick is a Harbreacher, to get the VIP to penthouse wall opened, on the far west side. Opening that wall is letting you plant into the default, and that is default because it's the hardest spot to deny as a defender from the theater. You still can be C4 from the service below, so be aware of that. Speaking of the default, one more default is behind the bomb exactly over here, or by the corner of the window. These 2 plant spots can be C4'd from below as well, but you will have an easier time watching it if you will be C4'd from the outside, if you open the service walls. Getting control of service and toilet is recommended. Your window player has to be wary of the half-wall player, won't be there once you open the VIP walls. And the half-wall player has to know that someone might prone over there. To see more reasoning behind opening walls as Harbreacher and default and less default defender places, head on to the description. For the execution, having a person by the toilet facing the theater door will do the trick. Extra tip for this attack is, if there is a soft mirror window from the theater to penthouse, Joshie can destroy without an issue. Ash could have an issue if there is an ADS, otherwise you will have to play vertically from below or with the Hibana to get rid of these. Now, we will be attacking kitchen and service, and obviously the SoloQ part. You don't want to push from the service or toilet if you can rely only on yourself, so that leaves up the office and sunrise push, which both are good. I would prefer more office push. Once you came to the kitchen sunrise hallway, you'll most likely be attacking from the opposite side as your team, and probably get freebies due to not being expected. No mud, gridlock, and no bug, if office, or recommended. Be mindful when putting the drones in the preparation phase. Stack part. There's a reason why I have gone to penthouse before kitchen and service, because when attacking kitchen and service, you will want to have control of the theater, penthouse and VIP, and that is exactly what we have been doing in the previous attack. Open up the toilet hatch, push your way in the VIP, and Hall of Fame is the first part of your round. You can now use Ying or flashes to waste ADSs to flash out whole theater. You can use Capitol to fire the whole theater, or you can do the standard drone and entry pushing. It is recommended to have someone from the VIP or VIP balcony watching the theater hallway, so it disallows them to play in that hallway, or rotate in that hallway. More advanced defenses now have a rotation from the theater to the lobby stairs, so consider having another playing by that window. Once you establish the top floor control, open the following vertical halls, and reasons are mostly to the nightfall places. The way of opening these and reasoning can be found in the description. It is 100% guaranteed that you will try to be flanked to the top, else you have a free round. So having a flank on the spot or nomad or an gridlock tracks at the places is a must. Once you have done all this, let your planter jump out from the penthouse window, and if you have a pair of smoke grenade, smoke off the angle from the kitchen to the service, and start planting on the south side of the service, as lobby is clear from opening the lobby double doors, and service is clear from the vertical holes. And that will be it for the execution. Planter plans, at least one is watching angle from the top onto the rotation between the kitchen and service. One should be watching lobby north side, and if you have one more person, let them watch service outside door to the kitchen. Extra tips for both attacks so far. Having a person on the roof watching the VIP hallway will secure your VIP flanks. There's still an angle from the Zulu to VIP, so be careful. If you didn't know, a drone hall is located over here, where you might find defenders playing. Also, I have not mentioned any hard breacher here, unless VIP to penthouse walls, and that is for a reason. You usually don't need hard breacher on this objective. When attacking pool and hookah, there are three kinds of pushes. We will get onto the SoloQ part a bit later. The most common is aqua push, with the vertical control, also requires a fine amount of map control, especially if you are about to plant, as from up there you cannot deny someone C4ing the player from the blue, and if you have someone dedicated to watch blue window, the player can be very easily picked off from the pink. The other push is penthouse and VIP push, and then push either of the sides. This one also forces you to get a good amount of map control, but usually VIP and penthouse will be given you for free or narrowly for free. We'll be here talking about the hookah push. Consider it as the easiest one, as it requires close to none map control. Before that, SoloQ part. You can take three different routines. One is to push from the VIP whilst having a drone in the penthouse and 90. You will most likely be unexpected then. However, expect a barbed wire in the mid of the hallway, but you should be able to cross it without or barely making any noise as the hallway is very huge. Or there could be a bulletproof camera. The other push could be from the pink and gradually moving toward the hookah stairs to the top. And the third push will be with the Ying, Gridlock or Capital. You have to go straight into the hookah, with blinding firing everyone in the hookah, and smoking everything that is not in the hookah. Stack part, hookah push. You will need to get the control of the pink, which can be done either from the office or simply from opening blue and pink window, as well as pushing your way from the pink door. If they have two people dedicated in the pink, one on the sofa and the other behind the bar, you will have to push from the offices. Be aware of their vertical angle from the hookah towards the pink doors. The easiest way to push and kill a person behind the bar is with the frags, capital or even flashes, as they will be flashed for sure, due to them being in the range of 4 meters. Once you get that control, you will have to take the control of the hookah stairs, and that can be done with more flashes or a frag grenade from the roof drawn hole. It is recommended too, when pushing the hookah stairs, to do the pressure from the hookah window or then the hookah doors, as defenders playing in the vase just above the hookah stairs have all the advantage over the players below them. You can establish 3 crossfires on them from the rooftop, hookah, and the player pushing them, flashing them, or firing them with the capital ball from the hookah window usually means death to them. When you get the control of the hookah stairs and made sure that no one is playing by the vase. By the way, there is a drawn hole here, can be sometimes very handy to kill the vase player. You will start the execution by smoking off the rotation between the sides and having someone or multiple people watching the hallway rotation, as well as having someone watching from hookah doors that no one rushes the planter, who is planting by default. Your planter most likely won't die, and all what you have to do is clear 1 room and 1 staircase for this push. Extra tips: no hard breach required. You browse Hibana, open up the Quattro walls. When having people dedicated by the pink or blue bar's window, be aware of the office or aqua balcony runout. Happens too often. Opening pool double window is recommended. Having someone there is not a necessary thing. For a final attack, pink and blue bar attack, you will usually be attacking first top floor. The hookah stairs, put a Trex air jab or something there to stop the flanks. Pool and aqua, as with having vertical control, you can see both objectives as well as office. Be aware of the Zulu flank. Once you have cleared out the top floor, you will most likely be pushing pink with a smoke grenade facing the pink double doors, as no vertical holes will stop defenders playing in the hallway. Speaking of the vertical holes, open the following vertical holes, and to see the reasons, check the description. If you don't have smoke grenade, you will have to push them manually from the stairs, and then you might end up in a problem of facing 2 different angles. The hallway one beneath the camera, and if someone is by the kitchen. A pair of smoke grenades will do the trick for the plant, with having 1 or 2 players not allowing defenders to come inside from the hallway or the blue bar rotation. Basically, the execution part starts once you get the top floor control. It's really not sci-fi. Have tracks by the Zulu and the stairs, and have a drone dedicated watching the VIP hallway, and you're good. Hard breachers are again not required. For the SoloQ part, you'll probably want to push from service, droning out toilet and using another drone hole to drone kitchen whilst continuously checking the toilet lobby drone, and push for the kitchen whilst your team is most likely either doing nothing or pushing for the other side. If your team is doing something, you will most likely get freebies if there is no barricade by the kitchen, either of the doors, or barred wires, where probably won't be in the ranked. Since I was kinda brief on the stack part, you might run into some issues if you're playing against an advanced team with the set strats on the top. If that is the case, well, pray to the god. Well, I'm just kidding. The only way of gaining the pool hookah part is from the aqua and the penthouse. Penthouse and that area around penthouse will most likely be free, as they are heavily holding hookah and its hallway. However, if that is not the case, consider rushing for the side and having an eye on the pink hatch. Back to the push, from VIP and Aqua. You will be able to establish crossfires on the Vaid and Theatre. Open up the VIP hallway wall if you have Hibana, or Thermite, or Maverick. And the other crossfire is obviously from Aqua. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any feedback, let me know down in the comment section below. If you would like to support me, drop me a like, subscribe and click the notification bell not to miss any video from my channel. Make sure to join my Discord server and to follow me on Twitter.